Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Police are highlighting their recent arrests in a 2022 homicide.
Now, tonight we're hearing from the family of 16-year-old Joshua Vasquez, who say this is a taste of justice after his homicide. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc reports.
Tonight, police announcing 3 arrests in connection to the murder of 16-year-old Joshua Vasquez, including the person they say is the shooter and the mother of that shooter, who police say was driving the car when this all happened.
That boy was a heart of gold. He had a heart of gold.
After waiting a year and a half, the friends and family of 16-year-old Joshua Vasquez now have a small weight lifted off their shoulders, with 3 people arrested in connection to his murder.
Bittersweet in the sense that he got his justice, and I'm very thankful for that.
New Haven police going through the details of the case alongside Joshua's family, wearing shirts with his face on it, comforting one another.
On December 19th, 2022, I will never forget. I will forever be in a dark memory in my life.
That night, after 4:20 in the afternoon, Alder Honda Smith was at her community center called The Shack when she heard gunshots down the street. At the scene, she found a 16-year-old boy she worked closely with lying in the street. Someone who volunteered with her helped the elderly and his neighbors. It was Joshua.
I wanted to drop to my knees when I saw the paramedics trying to revive Josh.
Police say Joshua was riding his bike near the corner of Valley Street and Harper Ave when an SUV drove by with one of the people in the car shooting him. He died at the hospital a short time later. Using surveillance video and license plate readers, police identified the driver as 46-year-old Latasha Brown, charging her and 59-year-old Ronald Miller in connection to the case in April of 2023. But it wasn't until last week where the police say the shooter was arrested.
And Mrs. Brown's son, Angelo Gibson, date of birth February 13th, 2005, 17 years old, as the person responsible for fatally shooting Joshua Vasquez.
Police apologizing to the family for the case taking longer to crack.
The suspect, the aiding and abetting person, was this kid's mother. These are very difficult cases. It must have been terrible to wait a year and a half, but some families, we still owe them this justice, and it's not there yet. And we may not get it, but we're not going to give up.
Now, as for a motive in this case, well, police say they're hearing different things from different witnesses. However, they do say they're learning of a potential feud between the inner circle of the victim and the suspect dating back to 2017, and this may have been a continuation of that. We are in New Haven. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Julia, thank you. Police now confirm what Fox 61 reported 24 hours ago. 32-year-old Mariah Farrar was arrested on assault charges in connection with the deadly shooting of Beth Ndwija in Meriden. According to court documents, a witness told police Ndwija was assaulted Monday by at least 2 people, a man and a woman, later identified as Farrar, who was stabbed in the shoulder. Farrar was arrested following her release from the hospital. Prosecutors expect to file more serious charges soon. Police say they do have a person of interest they are looking to speak with, but did not give any details on who that person is.
Health officials say West Nile virus has been detected in mosquitoes in Danbury. This means 48 mosquito samples in Connecticut have tested positive for the disease, mostly in Fairfield County. No human cases have been reported. Earlier in the week, crews announced the first batch of mosquitoes to test positive for Triple E this year. No human cases of that disease have been reported either.
All right, turning now to the weather. We saw some rain this afternoon. Check out this video of it coming down in Hartford, but it didn't last long.
Yeah, somehow, I don't know what it is when they have these downpours happening. I am driving. Either I'm always driving or I have bad luck.
Are you like a cartoon character with the cloud following you?
Absolutely. Hey, at least it's not an anvil. You know, it's just that cloud.
Yes. Take that. It is much better. We are brightening things up out there now, just a little bit. I mean, I don't want to promise too much, but a lighter shade of gray right now in New Haven. And if you really want to see some sun, oh, you are going to love tomorrow. 83 degrees in the New Haven area. And checking out the radar, no more showers. But you know why? It's because Sarah's inside. So that's why we have no more that are on the radar. Checking out the visible satellite, it is clear skies and sunny right now in northwestern Connecticut through much of Litchfield County. And these clouds are going to continue to slowly deteriorate as we head through the evening and especially the overnight. And by tomorrow, you're waking up to blue skies. Right now, near the 80-degree mark in Hartford, 79 in Chester. And we're looking at overnight lows. Quite refreshing if you want to keep the windows open. The humidity continues to tank as we head through the evening and overnight, and we're looking at temperatures near 60. We could even see a couple spots in the upper 50s as we head towards daybreak. So refreshing to begin the day tomorrow. As we head towards lunchtime, temperatures are in the mid 70s, and we're looking at highs in the low to mid 80s as we head through the afternoon. If you like the sound of this, you're going to love the weekend, although it does trend a bit warmer. We'll explain coming up.
Rachel, thank you. Now to a developing story we've been following for days. The Bethany Parks and Rec director has resigned from her position after a staff member was accused of touching children inappropriately.
All week, people have been demanding the town do more, and now another employee has been put on leave.
Fox 61's Brooke Griffin has a breakdown of the details.
As the story really seems to be unfolding just about every day this week, the latest information we have is that the Parks Director, Janice Howard, has resigned from her director position. We also know that the Assistant Parks Director has been placed on leave. Now, this is all after days and really weeks of parents and community members saying they would like to see these people resign, get fired, step down, whatever it takes. They say this is all after they've become very uncomfortable with the information that they're learning. The Board of Selectmen held yet another special meeting last night. That's just one day after a different special town meeting for parents and neighbors, many of whom showed up very angry and frustrated because they don't understand why the allegations are just now coming out 2 years later. The accused employee is Anthony Mastrangelo. He's accused of sexually abusing several young girls as far back as December 2022. He was removed from working with children when the accusations first surfaced, but still remained on the park's staff for another 6 months, although it's unclear what his title was during that time. Now, he was arrested last month. Since then, the Parks Department has issued a hands-off policy between the workers and kids, and they've also installed several cameras at rec facilities. However, one parent says her child is one of the victims. Now she's calling for First Select Woman Paula Confrancesco to resign as well, because she says that the Select Woman was not transparent with the information.
I firmly believe, as much as I did enjoy the Park and Rec program for my children at the time, that there were no proper protocols and procedures in place, and that at least my child having been victimized in her home, it could have been avoided. So I do believe there should be some action taken against her and even her assistant.
Now, of course, we all know that this is a lot to unpack here, so I am going to run through a bit of a more simple list at this point. Anthony Confrancesco, the Assistant Parks Director, has been placed on leave. The Parks Director, Janice Howard, has resigned from her position. The accused Parks employee has been arrested and also fired. Now there are calls for the Select Woman to resign as well. So this is something that we're going to continue to follow in the days and weeks that are upcoming. If anything else develops, we'll of course get that out to you. In Bethany, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
An update now here. A Shelton man's facing charges. Investigators say a large number of illegal fireworks were found in his home going off during a house fire. Stephen Lupkes is facing reckless endangerment and illegal possession of fireworks charges. Police say the fireworks were found while firefighters were on scene. Take a look at this. Putting out that home fire on Bruce Drive on June 22nd. So dangerous for those crews. Crews discovered the fireworks couldn't safely be removed, so they had to do a controlled burn to set them off. Thankfully, no one was injured.
A vehicle that was carjacked in Hartford was located just hours later in a different city. Police say the car was stolen on Main Street. It was then found unoccupied on Ambrose Terrace in East Hartford. There's no word on any suspects right now. Hartford police are still investigating. Well, yesterday, pro-Palestinian protesters gathered by the thousands outside to denounce the prime minister and call for an end to military aid for Israel.
Those protesters congregated while Netanyahu delivered a speech to a joint session of Congress. Tensions have been running high between demonstrators and police. In D.C., here our news partners share this video of yesterday's crowd. You can see Capitol Police spraying what looks to be tear gas into the crowd. These protesters came from all across the country, including right here in Connecticut. We spoke with one of those activists who traveled down to D.C. yesterday. She says she felt like law enforcement instigated marchers, but believes it was important still for her to show up.
The stakes are incredibly high at this point to make a message known and to show the community within the United States, as well as, the international community, that we can't tolerate, the siege on Gaza anymore. We're not particularly optimistic. Vice President Harris will put enough pressure on Netanyahu or the state of Israel to end its bombardment and siege on Gaza. I don't see that pressure happening either in Kamala Harris's rhetoric now or her more sidelined role during the Biden administration.
War in Gaza is a big factor for the 2024 election, and now presumptive Democratic nominee Harris's base. Many voters who voted uncommitted in the Democratic primary say they're still unsure if they're willing to vote for Kamala Harris without a ceasefire or conditions on weapons and aid to Israel.